everyone, it's Linnea for LDRS Creative. Today's video is all about telling you what each of the dies from the Iris Shutter kit does, specifically the more decorative tab dies and the dies that you can use to create your own cards once you've used up the specialized backgrounds from the kit. Now, I will not be showing you how to assemble the Iris Shutter mechanism in this video. I have many other videos on the LDRS Creative YouTube channel that show you how to do that, so definitely check out the other videos in this playlist for an assembly tutorial. So to get started, this first circle die here is what I'll call your base circle die. In order to create your Iris Shutter mechanism, you'll need 3 of those from any color. Does not matter, this part will not be seen. This little kidney bean shaped die is what is going to form the Iris Shutter that is going to shutter open and closed. You'll need 3 of those as well, and those colors do matter. This is what you're going to be seeing. This is what I call the little support beam piece. You'll need 3 of those to build your mechanism, and this piece will not be seen. I like to use a sturdy cardstock for this, so I usually use 110 pound. Now let's take a look at some of the handle or tab dies. This one here is your base. This is all you really need to make the mechanism. You just need your handle. But these other pieces are decorative and they are optional. You can add them on, but you don't have to. So this one here is your curved die, and that's just going to create a little arrow cutout that's going to make it easy for your recipient to know to pull down on that handle. This one here has a flat edge, and this one is going to be for cards where your mechanism is going right up to the edge of your card. So you'll use the rounded edge if you're placing it in the center of your card, and the flat edge if it's going right up against the edge of your card. And I'll show you examples of each of those in just a minute. But just remember that all you need is this handle. The other pieces are optional and decorative. So I've gone ahead off camera and I've assembled the Iris Shutter mechanism. And again, there are many videos on the LDRS Creative channel where I walk you through how to do that. Now I want to show you more about these decorative overlay dies. Let's start with this one that just lines right up with the curve of that base handle die. You can cut this from any color cardstock, and it's just going to allow that arrow to peek through. So here's an example where I used the base handle in pink, and then I overlaid it with white. Here I switched it. The base handle is white, and the overlay is pink. Next up, let's look at that die that creates that decorative cover that has a flat edge. So this one, like I mentioned before, is going to be used. You're going to lay it right over and glue it right over the top of that base handle. But this one is going to be used on cards where your mechanism is a full frontal mechanism. So here again, I have that base in purple and I use that overlay in white. And I switched it up here so that the color is shown and the little arrow is white. And you can see that that flat edge lines up with the edge of the card. The next I will look at is the other large circle in your set, and this one is just your decorative overlay die. This one is so that you can create with your own pattern papers or designs. You can even use solid colored cardstocks and create your own Iris Shutter cards without the additional elements from the kit. You can use white cardstock and color it up how you want, or colored cardstock, or even pattern paper specialty glitter cardstocks. And you can again use those handle decorative overlays in conjunction with this large circle overlay. So here's an example where I used pattern paper and I dropped in one of the sentiments from the kit, but you don't have to. Here's another one where I used ephemera and pattern papers from my own stash, so this whole card is made using just the dies and no other elements from the kit. The last 2 dies also allow you to make your own Iris Shutter cards without having to use the other elements from the kit. Let's start with this little half circle die. It actually only cuts on the curved edge. The flat edge does not have a cutting surface. So I'm going to pull in a card that I have here, just a blank piece of white cardstock, and I cut it out. So you can see what it does is it creates that little notch in the side, just like are in the kit, But this is so you can create with your own pattern papers or cardstock and create your own scenes with the Irish shutter mechanism dies. And again, if you wanted to, this is where you would use that flat-edged handle overlay piece. Now that circle in the middle, I cut with this stitched die, and that just allows me to create a hole in any card I want to create an opening for the Irish shutter mechanism. In addition, the circle that die cuts out is where you'll stamp your hidden sentiment or whatever you want to reveal so that you can create your own cards after you've used up the card panels and the sentiments in the kit. So this really is an endless die set that you can keep using over and over and over again. So here's where I'm showing you how that iris shutter mechanism lines up, just like with the other items in the kit, the other panels. You'll just position that centered behind your die cut circle and then add your little tab onto it. So here's one where I've used that circle to cut out a sentiment that is not included in the kit. And here's one where I have created my own scene, and I used both that tab die, that little half circle die, to create the tab up in the top right corner of my card, and I cut a circle in the center for my Irish shutter mechanism. That's it. I hope you've enjoyed this quick peek at all of the dies included in the Irish shutter kit. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!